Okay, so today we're going to be making Swedish Kringler. This recipe that I have is the same that is in the Swedish Dancer Cookbook. It's just been doubled. So this recipe that I'm making today makes 4 Kringler. And Kringler is a Swedish pastry. It's not hard. It looks a little bit difficult, but it's very, very easy to make. So in my mixing bowl here I have 2 cups of flour and 1 cup of butter or margarine. And I just use butter or margarine sticks. I've used both. I've used butter and I've also used margarine, and you get the same result. What you don't want to buy is any kind of light margarine or light butter, because that has a lot of water in it and you'll end up with a soggy Kringler. So I've got 2 cups of flour, 1 cup of butter, and water. And what this is the base, kind of the crust. So you just mix that up real good. You could also use a couple of forks or one of those pastry cutters to do this, but I find a mixer is the easiest. So it'll start getting kind of broken up and kind of lumpy. Just make sure it's mixed up real good. And make sure when you start your butter or margarine is soft. Okay. So you just take it off your beater. And I don't grease my pan because there's so much butter in this that you really don't need to. Just clean out your bowl. And this is going to make 4. And what I found is the easiest is to divide this into 4 equal balls. And just kind of move it around until it looks pretty even. And we're going to make 4 Kringlers on this big pan going this way. Okay. One trick I've learned to help make it the right size is to go ahead and make it into like a rope. So a lot of your work is done before you even start patting it out. Like that. And do the same thing with the others. So I'll go ahead and do one of these and we can turn the video off. And this is going to get really, really thin, and you think there's no way it's going to reach, and I think the measurements in the recipe are 4 inches by 11. But if you just keep pressing on it, it eventually... Is that tape measure around here? So that's even a little bit, it's plenty big. So that's 1. Okay, so this is step 1, and we're just finishing patting these out at our 4 Kringler here, approximately 4 inches by 11 or 12 inches. And so we'll set this aside. And then the next step is like the filling or the custardy part. And it is, thank you, 2 cups of water and 1 cup of butter or margarine in a small saucepan, and you just heat that to boiling. So 2 cups of water and 2 sticks of butter. And again, butter or margarine works, just don't buy the light or diet kind. So we have our boiling water and butter here, so I'm going to turn it off. And the great thing about this recipe is you don't have to wash the mixing bowl. So that was what I just had the crust in. So I'm just going to pour that hot liquid right back in my mixing bowl. And then you add 2 cups of flour. that up. And then we're going to add 1 egg at a time, beating after each egg. Scrape this down once. It's still really hot, and it kind of sets those eggs a little bit. And then 1 teaspoon of almond. And I always think you can't have too much almond. I love almond. You can smell it right away. So once that's just completely mixed, we're ready to put it onto our crust. You smell that almond? Mm-hmm. And we just want to first divide it evenly, so you can just kind of blob it on there. And don't start spreading until you get it all divided. I can tell it's cooled down. It's easier to spread if it was still really hot. But we had a little camera delay. Technical difficulties. This one looks like it needs a little bit more. How's that look? And then you just spread it all the way to the edge. And it's okay if you go over, because the filling, or this second layer, really sticks to the base. So it's okay if you go a little bit over. These two got a little close, but I think we can separate them. These really are fast to make, so that's why I like making them. And just ingredients that you have in your house. Okay, so we have our Kringler put together. Now we're just going to put them in the oven at 400, so it is a really hot oven, for 40 minutes, and you might have to turn it halfway through if your oven is hot in one spot. And they will raise up, probably pretty big because of all those eggs. And then when you take them out of the oven and are cooling them on the pan, they will fall, and that's perfectly normal. And then when they're all cool, okay, and then when they've cooled a while, you can let them get completely cool, or just transfer them when they're still warm. I always use 2 spatulas and then transfer them onto your tray. Okay, at this point, when your Kringlers are completely cool and there's no heat left at all, they can be packaged up in an airtight bag and frozen. Make sure you get all the air out and freeze it. Then when you bring it out of the freezer, make sure you remove it from the bag and bring it up to temperature, and then go ahead and frost it. What you want to avoid is any moisture at all in the bag, because then when you're ready to frost, go ahead and make a basic tea ring frosting with almond flavoring, and go ahead and frost your Kringlers generously. More or less, whatever you like to do, and then sprinkle them with sliced almonds, not slivered, but we like to use sliced. It just makes it look real pretty.
Sure is tasty.